Now we come to the principle of Pratitya Samutpada as ethical principle. That is why he declared four noble truths, that is Arya Satya. We will see the principle of Pratitya Samutpada as metaphysical principle. In the process of development of Buddhist philosophy, Madhyama Pratipada, they create their own versions of middle path between two extreme views. For instance, to avoid these standpoints is middle path, that is Madhyama Marga. Hence, to realize the emptiness or voidness, that is Shunyata, of all viewpoints is Madhyama Pratipada of Madhyamikas. Interestingly, whereas Yogacara school presents a positive and constructive theory of absolute reality, for them the pure consciousness is real, but its dissolution into knower-known duality is unreal. Still, both the components of this relation, knower and known, are not dispensable equally. Knower is metaphysically indifferent to pure consciousness, that is Vigyapti Matrata. Here, only its appeared role of a knower is to be negated. Hence, the realist Abhidharmika theory that the thing and its knowledge both are equally real, and the Madhyamika Shunyavada theory that both are unreal because of being mutually relative, both theories are extreme positions and should be avoided. So, Vijnanavada is the middle philosophical position claiming that knower is real and known is unreal. Of course, regarding these various philosophical positions, there have been a long tradition of argumentative dialogue between Buddhist and non-Buddhist schools of philosophy like Nyayikas and Vedanta. But this lecture's scope is limited only to introduce the trajectory of Buddhist philosophical tradition. So, to sum up, it can be maintained that Buddhism is a collection of philosophies and not a single philosophy. It adopted many philosophical approaches like realist, critical realist, idealist and non-dualist during the course of its development. Nevertheless, as any philosophical tradition has an ideological commitment, Buddhist schools too were committed to an ideology in their philosophical development. And this enlightened commitment can reasonably be called no soul, Nairatmyavadi commitment. All four major schools of Buddhism, in fact, establish no soul theory or Nairatmyavada at highest level by propounding theories of Shunyata, Pratitya Samutpada and Madhyama Pratipada. This no soul theory, that is Nairatmyavada, is not mere a theoretical enterprise but a philosophy of life as well. This is not just a theory but a diagnosis too. The diagnostic approach of Buddhism can also be called approach of sailing against the current, that is Patisot Gamita. It's a self-critical, self-reflective and self-cleansing approach which attempts to return to pure consciousness against all its natural, habitual, biological and psychological orientations. It is the total negation of natural inclinations, animal instincts and biological wants of consciousness. Interestingly, in a sense, as we find in theistic ways of life, in Buddhist way of life too, we find that the goal of moksha, nirvana or attadipo bhava cannot be actualized without going beyond the lower demands of body as well as mind. Hence, to orient consciousness within against natural inclinations, Patisotagamita is the Buddhist intent of moralizing human consciousness. This self-reflective consciousness is the ground of moralization of human consciousness, action, and the human world. It is noticeable that all Buddhist ideological systems were put forward against these natural inclinations of human consciousness. This is the Buddhist strategy for strengthening human consciousness against natural weaknesses. Buddhist way of thinking and living is called Arya Drashti, noble viewpoint, and the identity of its Aryahood lies in this self-critical attitude against nature. Attadipo Bhava and Satkaya Drashti are main inspirations of Buddhist way of life, which come from above mentioned self-reflection and self-cleansing only. The intent of mindful Dharma Pravichya, that is, analyzing the consciousness and its object, was to clearly understand the natural flow and different states of consciousness, and to find out clues to free it from sensual attachment, delusion, and aversions, etc. Buddhist notion of Shila, Samadhi, Prajna, and Brahma Vihara, and 6 Paramitas all are defined as grounds of mind, that is, Chitta Bhumis, which are opposites of different attitudes of natural flow of consciousness. Hence, the philosophy of life derived from Buddhism is really a diagnosis which refers to sailing against the current, that is, Patisotgami. It treats man affected from natural inclinations of consciousness and prepare him to be moral without any suprahuman help. In other words, the whole strategy of Buddhist philosophy is to purify human consciousness from all obstacles, kleshas, like avidya, that is ignorance, asmita, that is egoism, raga, that is attachment, and dvesha, that is aversion. So, finally it can be said that the moralization of human action and world by purification of consciousness is the very fundamental nature of Buddhist philosophy of life. With this, I end my talk. Thank you and Namaste.